Hi, it's Rob from robnunphoto.com and the SCL Subject Composition and Light Photography podcast. Today I just wanted to have a quick look at a couple of Gorillapods, these tiny little multifunction tripods that you can buy for your digital or your film cameras, because when you look at them on the net, it's not always completely obvious which size you should go for. And as I've got two of them, I thought it might be quite helpful just to show you. I've got the original Gorillapod, and I've got the Gorillapod SLR. Okay, so let's put the SLR to one side and look at the original Gorillapod. Now, the original Gorillapod is very small, as you can see. It's only really good for looking at compact cameras, because it's very light and, well, it doesn't support much weight before the legs start to bend. Now, the beauty with the Gorillapods is the fact that these little legs you see are very bendy indeed, so you can set it up and use it sort of as a normal tripod sort of thing, shutter delay, and you can get really nice shots. Or the other really cool thing is that you can wrap the legs around all sorts of weird and wonderful objects. So if you can imagine my hand was a post, you could actually wrap your camera around. I know you can also buy or order things like light stands for them, flash stands as well, little flash adapters so you could fix your flash on. But they're perfect small little tripods for any time where you need to support your sort of compact camera on an uneven surface, or you want to wrap it around something. I know with this little Olympus 300, U300, I've actually got a remote for it as well, so I could set it up and fire it using the remote. So that's the you can also take the camera off and leave the little bracket on all the time, and there's a little lock button underneath as well to stop it falling off when it shouldn't do. So that's the original Gorillapod. So see how small it is. So if you see one going cheap, they're only really suitable for small compact cameras, not heavier ones. If you've got an SLR, you'll want to buy probably the Gorillapod or Gorillapod SLR. Now, this is an altogether more chunky beast. If I put them sort of next to each other there, you can see the difference in size. And what I've done with this one is I've put my film camera on there, the 50E. It's got 28mm lens on it. Same idea. You've got the legs that you can bend round and attach to all sorts of things, so you can get the camera really low on the ground and bend it around to get different viewpoints. It's got a quick release on it, so you could leave the bracket on the bottom and move it that way. So the Gorillapod SLR is for those larger, heavier cameras. However, it's not suitable if you've got long zooms. If you've got a really heavy zoom, you'll want to go for the Gorillapod, I think it's called the SLR Zoom, which is even beefier and stronger than the Gorillapod SLR. One thing I really like about both of these Gorillapods is the fact that they're so incredibly light. So they don't add much weight to your camera bag when you're going out with them. So it's always worth chucking them in. So say you're on the beach and you want to get your camera really close to the ground, but you don't want to lie on the ground, you can get your Gorillapod out and do it. Or if the surface is uneven, because look, you can just bend the legs sort of whichever way you want to. So there we go, the Gorillapod SLR, whoops, should have locked that one on, and the Gorillapod, the original Gorillapod. The original Gorillapod for small cameras, and the Gorillapod SLR for SLRs with small lenses on, not big sort of super zooms on. And let me just show you, because that just came off, but it came off because I hadn't locked it on. Because what you do is you snap it on like that, and then there's this little switch here that you can turn. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. Let me just set that up. And that then goes round to the locked position, so that isn't going anywhere now. But they're not very expensive, and they're a great addition to anybody's camera bag. That's Rob from robnunphoto.com with the Gorillapods.